Hey, cabin lovers, and welcome back to another episode of my Dream Log Cabin podcast. I'm always grateful to have you with us today, and you're going to love this episode, whether you already have a log home, you're thinking about building one, or even if you've considered buying one already made. This episode is for you because we are talking about the subject that every log cabin lover needs to know about, and that is restoration. So with me today is Dave Santee, the founder of Top Notch Logworks based out of Colorado, as well as Jay Schuler, who is one of the founders and CEO of Nortek Copperworks. So thanks for joining us, gentlemen. I'm excited for this conversation and for the value that we're going to bring to our audience today.
Thanks for having us today.
Yeah, a pleasure. Definitely. Well, let's just kind of, first of all, tell me a little bit about you, Dave. Just kind of introduce.
We started doing log and timber work early 90s, 1982. A lot of big homes in the Aspen and Vail valleys. We started our corporation, Top Notch Logworks, in 1999. Basically specializes in large post and beam type construction, sophisticated roof systems, stairs, things like that. And then over the years, we expanded into restoration as there was a real need for people that could chink and restore log structures that were either compromised by rot or just needed finish maintenance.
Well, my guess is over the years, you've seen quite a few, as we might say, horror stories in the log world. Would you say that's true? Okay. Yeah. So
they call me Dr. Doom in one high-end residential area.
Oh boy, because they know if you're there, somebody's got a problem. Well, I think that's a really key factor here that we want to help people, maybe prevent as much as possible, because obviously one of the main focuses of this podcast is education and to give people some insight to what is common knowledge to us that's been in the business, but may not be common knowledge to them. And as they're shopping for a home or shopping for a builder, these are things that they need to know. First and foremost, let's talk about just general maintenance. This is a really common question that we get asked. What are some of the things that people can expect when they have a log home as far as general maintenance and taking care of it on the regular basis?
Well, no finish is bomb-proof. Finishes have to be maintained. They also do not last in heavy UV ultraviolet areas really more than 2 to 3 years without needing some kind of maintenance. So too many times people think just because they put finish on, well, I just put finish on 12 years ago. There's no finish left. So expectation should be that you do have to put finish on a top coat at least more regularly than they're probably considering. And every year, if possible, or at least every 2, they should rinse off the exterior of the home using, like, Permachink makes a product called Log Wash. There's numerous cleaners that are just really light cleaners. They're not a stripper or chemical stripper. And because you need to remove the pollens and the dust and all that, because wind basically over time sandblasts your home. And that'll cause those finishes to fail at a much more rapid rate than if you would clean off the structure.
Okay. So I know that I've seen this, working in the office, people will use a pressure washer. Is there any reason that's a bad idea or a good idea? I mean, what's your opinion on that?
Okay. Pressure washers can be bad. You do have to have some skill level with a pressure washer so you don't destroy the finish by over pressure washing with too much pressure. You also can blow moisture into inside the house and possibly do damage. So anytime you're pressure washing, you really need somebody watching on the inside to be sure you don't have leakage issues. Really, these cleaner type log cleaners are designed to be put on and then just rinsed off with garden hose or very light pressure washing. I guess a good example of that would be, when you pressure wash your car in a car wash and you don't scrub it, it looks great and it dries and then it's still dirty. So you didn't actually get the dirt off. You got it nice and wet, but it'll remove the big chunks. But if you really want the finish to be properly maintained, it's more of a wash.
Yeah, and one of the things on that note that my understanding is when that dust settles on our logs, it actually attracts moisture. It can actually hold moisture close to the wood fiber, which can be a problem. Can you elaborate on that some?
Yeah, that and the wood surface is deteriorated by the sandblasting effect, basically, of the dirt and the wind. And it then makes the logs more absorptive, which then allows moisture to enter the system and cause rot issues. So
yeah,
cleaning is vital.
This is one of those things that I love talking about because I don't know about you, but I'm a science geek. And so I think about those things on just a molecular level, what's happening and how to the naked eye, these are not things we see. And it's so easy to just let time go by. And then all of a sudden, now you have a bigger problem on your hands, right?
Right. It isn't, and people are like, oh, log homes have so much maintenance. But our painting division, we paint regular homes, and everything we're speaking of is the same. Standard wood homes rot also, and all the same factors in place. So it shouldn't sound so intimidating. In effect, it's happening to your normal home also. It just nobody ever speaks of it.
I love that you brought that up because I think that's an important thing for people to realize is, I mean, really, if we get honest about it, I'm just obviously tell me if you think I'm totally off base here, but it seems like the majority of the problems people kind of are worried about, or that stigma maybe, are because maintenance wasn't done. And then now there's a problem and it's usually expensive.
Yeah. And so much of it is really 90% of the issues, in my opinion, on log structures come down to poor design. My mother's German. I've seen 700-year-old log structures in Europe. Maybe it's a good idea to see what they did and why they did that instead of us just doing our own thing. So moisture control is vital, and design on so many things does not allow for that. It's one of the reasons we use Nortek. You need to control moisture.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get involved a lot, probably like you do, when it's too late, you know, and the wood has started to decompose. So not only are they like wanting to cover it up, but you have to educate the consumer on, well, you want to stop the rot or you should replace it if it's gone too far. And there's products out there that you can use to stop or prevent it from going any farther, borates and things like that. Yeah, and one thing when we were talking earlier was the UV. I had forgotten about how much that plays a role in how quickly something can deteriorate. You know, certain sides of the house will be subject to more abuse than other sides when there isn't any light or things there to help dry the logs out. So
we especially have that in Colorado. You know, many homes are 8, 9, 10, 11,000 feet elevation. So the UV rays really cause havoc on finishes and can on wood surfaces. I was talking to Andy, who's the grader for TPI. That's who structurally grades wood. And I'm sure, Lindsay, you probably have met him. And Colorado experiences, even though it's a very dry climate, more rot issues than many places because of the constant varying temperatures. Even in the wintertime, it can be warm enough for rot to be activated. And our UVs are so bad. So it's not true that just because it's a dry climate that rot issues aren't a big deal.
Interesting. And I think too, you mentioned something important, and that is that, we're already talking about the elements. There's dry, you mentioned the sun, and you mentioned wind, and then there's moisture. So, I mean, there's just so many environmental factors. I think making sure that we're just vigilant as log owners, as log homeowners, to keep the logs clean, keep the dirt and grime and the dust down to a minimum. How often do you recommend cleaning the logs, like just on a basis, like a regular basis?
Ideally, every 2 years, it would be a good idea if you want to maximize it. I know most people don't. For what the log home finish manufacturers say and what is practical or affordable it's always a balancing act, but definitely more than once every 5 years.
Yeah. Well, and especially because, and I see this a lot with acrylic polymers, I suppose, and those are the ones that the majority of log homeowners are using. Just they offer a lot wider range of color options and pigments and things like that. But they're the ones that seem to be really affected by the UV. And if you wait too long, then they start to flake off. And now you have to refinish the whole house. I mean, there's really no salvaging it at that point.
Turns into a blast or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So Jay, tell us a little bit more about Nortek and where people can find out more information.
Yeah, you can reach Nortek Copperworks by either going out to the web at nortekcopperworks.com, or you can text us copper, that's 3 sevens, and we can get you information about how to get a hold of us. We have a full line of copper products, and we can do customs to your specifications. We also have a line of settling jacks that are often used in log cabins. So yeah, reach out and we'll help you out.
Excellent. Thank you.